If you've listened to the news or been on the internet, in the past 2 weeks there are some things I can guarantee that you have heard of. One is Beyonce's performance at the Super Bowl halftime show and the controversy behind it. Two is Kanye West releasing his album or the lack of releasing it. And three is the Zika virus. So what do you think about when you hear about the Zika virus? Do you think about the avian bird flu outbreak back in 2006? Or more recently, do you think about the Ebola outbreak in 2014? Do you think about, oh, that doesn't bother me, it isn't really here in America, it doesn't affect me that much? Or do you think, I have no idea what that is? Me personally, I thought, when I first heard about it, I have no idea what that is. I had no idea what was going on or why I should even care, and it just sounded kind of scary and like something that I didn't want to, research. But I am going to pharmacy school in the fall, and this is something that will affect the scientific community and my profession for the next few months at least, and possibly the years to come. So I will explain 3 simple things about the Zika virus. 1, where it started. 2, what it does to people. And 3, what the scientific community is doing about it. So let's get started with figuring out exactly where this thing came from. The Zika virus is a mosquito-transmitted disease, which basically means, obviously it comes from mosquitoes and they're the ones who spread it. It was discovered in the Zika forest in Africa back in 1947, hence that's where the name came from, the Zika virus. The virus is very common in Asia and Africa, but not very common in the Western Hemisphere. There are very little cases of it until recently, in May of 2015, there was an outbreak in Brazil. The United States has less than 1,000 cases per year, but this could change because of a couple of things. One is that the mosquito that carries the virus is common in Florida, the Gulf Coast, and Hawaii, and it has also been seen as far north as Washington, D.C. when the weather permits and it's warm enough. 2 is that the Olympic Games are in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil this year. And why that's important is because, as stated, there was an outbreak in Brazil back in May. The scientific community is worried that people will contract the virus and carry it to all corners of the world. This has caused the World Health Organization to declare Zika virus as a global emergency. However, it isn't so much the spread of the Zika virus that is causing this panic, but what it is doing to children in Brazil. Scientists have known for a while that Zika virus doesn't present any symptoms in the vast majority of people. This means most people can carry the virus and won't be affected by it. Around 20% of people who have the virus will present symptoms in the form of mild fevers, rashes, and body aches. However, so it's not very serious and hasn't really killed many people, if any, from what I've seen in the research I've done. However, the real alarm right now is that since the outbreak in Brazil, there have been around 4,000 cases of microcephaly. And what microcephaly is when a baby is born, it comes out with its head smaller than normal. And that's what microcephaly is. It's a very rare disease that causes a small head and impaired cognitive function and brain development. And why that's important is because, as said, there's about 4,000 cases since May alone in Brazil, when normally there's only between 2 and 12 cases per 10,000 live births. Scientists believe this could be caused by something else, but right now people are leaning towards it being the Zika virus. So what exactly is the scientific community going to do about it? Right now, scientists are trying to figure out how Zika virus has spread. Again, this is difficult because about 80% of people don't show symptoms, so it's hard for scientists to find and monitor how fully it has spread throughout different countries. Zika virus can also be spread via sexual contact, and it's possible, though not certain, the virus is spread through saliva. This is the main reason the World Cup in Brazil is making the scientific community so worried, actually. Scientists are working on a vaccine though, but it is taking longer than normal. On Twitter last week, the director of the Center for Disease Control, Thomas Frieden, tweeted out a picture of a stack of about 48 pages of paper with the caption, "Entire world literature on Zika, 50 years of neglect." And since Zika didn't show any lethal symptoms, scientists always put it towards the back burner of vaccine development. It's something that the world hasn't focused on, and so they're, in essence, starting a vaccine from scratch. However, efforts have been ramped up recently to find a vaccine. The Obama administration recently asked Congress for about $1.8 billion, with a big chunk of that going towards the Center for Disease Control's research and contamination programs. Meanwhile, other scientists all around the world are also running research on how Zika is spread and how dangerous it really is. Today I showed you where Zika started, how it spreads, and what the world is doing about it. There's a lot of commotion in the media right now about what Zika is, and it's important to realize what's true and what isn't about this virus. So now when your friend asks you if you've heard about the Zika virus, you can say yes and tell them some different facts to help them make a choice about whether they should be worried or whether they shouldn't be.